Well, hello everybody, Jason up, New Year's Revolution Cave. Friday is here, ladies and gentlemen. Friday is here. We got one more day. One more day until I am the most peaceful I've ever been during the week. The most peaceful part of my week is Saturday. This Saturday, it'll be Saturday at 3. I will be home from my office. The weather is cold. I will be in the garage with some sort of mood-altering beverage, watching college football, hoping for everybody from ranked first all the way to 12th to lose so that Notre Dame can creep up as their game goes off at 7:30, something like that. Love it. Love Saturdays. Love it. And then Sundays, we repeat. We sit in the garage. We watch the Brady's. We get ready for bowling. It's really kind of dreadful when my whole existence just waits for Saturdays at 3. I mean, all right. Well, it's wrestling with the past. We have concluded 1985, ladies and gentlemen. I have one more show. I have a Madison Square Garden December 30th, 1985 show to watch this weekend. And then we're done. We are done with 1985. That's big. That's pretty big for a couple different reasons. 86, I feel like we start to get into just a different feel. I think 84 feels different than 85, and 85 feels different than 86. And I think as we go forward, we are not going to get close to the feelings of 84 and 85. We're not going to get the Madison Square Garden or the MTV involvement. We're not going to get, pretty soon, Saturday morning championship wrestling from the small little field houses or whatever, Allentown, wherever. They're going to go to the big arenas, and then we're going to have WWF Superstars of Wrestling or Wrestling Superstars, whatever it was called. And it just starts to change. Still great. Still looking very forward, because I have not seen 86. I have had this footage for so long. Decades I've had this footage, and I have never watched past 85. So I am jumping into a whole new era of stuff. And in fact, I have not seen 87, 88, 89 since 87, 88, 89. So I'm looking very forward to watching that stuff. The part I'm not looking forward to is I organized all of 85. I organized all of 84. I put them all in chronological order. I put every event in order, and I put them in their own little box, and now I have completed them. So now I have to go into the big Sterlite tub of discs, and I have to now do the same thing for 86, and that might not be easy. I've got to put everything in order for 1986. That might take a while. So we're going to wrap up 1985 here. I will probably do the Wrestling with the Past Madison Square Garden, December 30th, 1985. But before that, we've got, I think it's December 19th, 1985. We have the final house show from Maple Leaf Gardens, the final house show for 1985, of course. The Maple Leaf Gardens, December 19th, 1985. One of my favorite arenas, if not my favorite arena. Obviously, Madison Square Garden is special. But Maple Leaf Gardens has what? What do we love about Maple Leaf Gardens house shows? The ramp. We love the ramp. And I loved the ramp so much as a kid that my LJN ring had a ramp. I used a shelf. I used kind of like what I put on my wall now. I used an actual piece of wood. It was laminated wood, or laminate wood, and it was part of a shelf that my mom would have on the wall. And then maybe she took the shelf down, and I just grabbed one of the shelves, and I set it up on my ring. I set it as an angle, and it was my ramp. Now, of course, as a kid, you don't think, oh, why don't you build a little platform for it and actually have it butt up to the ring? No, I would just lean it on the ring, right? I would just, so you don't think as a kid. So let's review Maple Leaf Gardens, December 19th, 1985. For those of you who saw the thumbnail and they say, oh my goodness, we're going to watch Maple Leaf Gardens 1980. No, we're not. Just stop. Don't leave the comments that I tuned in to watch it and all you did was talk about it. That's all I'm going to do is talk about it. There's a little thing called copyright on the YouTube. And yes, I could actually post the entire video of Maple Leaf Gardens wrestling on the YouTube, but it'll get copyrighted and I won't get paid for it. And sometimes if you do that too much, they'll ban your channel. So we're not showing footage. You know that. For the return customers, just ignore what I just said. Just continue on with the show. This is a bad card, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you right now, this is not a good card. It is enjoyable because it's wrestling from 1985, and I will take a bad card over the greatest card of 2025 by far. Not good, but we open with convicted murderer Johnny K9. Johnny K9 will someday become a guy named Bruiser Bedlam, and then Johnny K9 will someday become a prisoner. I believe the rap sheet on him includes murder and something called anarchy. I saw in his list of charges. Anarchy, robbery, probably kidnapping, puppy killing, that sort of stuff. Johnny K9 would drop to his knees and somehow go like this or whatever. That was his wrestler thing. Every wrestler's got a thing. They got a thing, and that was his thing. He would do that. Johnny K9 takes on a fella named Tony Cannonball Parisi in the opening matchup. Cannonball Parisi, ladies and gentlemen. I have only heard of him. I've not seen him on any WWF television. I'm sure that he was a Canadian guy. Cannonball Parisi during this match is 43 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and he looks 63, ladies and gentlemen. And that is just a thing. That is just a thing from older generations. They don't look their age. And Cannonball Parisi looks like an old man. Well, it's a match. It's a match. Our friend Gorilla Monsoon, this is going to be a tremendous matchup, according to Gorilla. We got Gorilla and Jesse doing commentary tonight. I really think that had Johnny K9 not been a enhancement talent in the early WWF, they might have been able to do a little something with him. I think he had a real tough guy image. What can you say about Cannonball Parisi versus Johnny K9? It's a fine match with K9 getting the upper hand for most of it, and Parisi gets the win with the cannonball drop, right? The cannonball. What do you think the cannonball is? Well, he has his opponent prone on the mat, and he climbs up to, I forget the second or top rope, and then does the butt drop. He just jumps and lands his cannonball butt on the chest of Johnny K9, rendering him unconscious, unable to kick out. Just like Johnny K9's murder victims, unable to kick out. Cannonball Parisi gets the Duke, and I don't think we'll ever see him again. I don't know why he's there. It's kind of like when the Vachons just randomly show up in the WWF in 1985. Don't know why they're there. Mad Dog and Butcher. have had their fair share of enhancement talent TV time, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Canadian enhancement worker, a guy that we see all the time on Maple Leaf Wrestling, or All-Star Wrestling as it is called, Bob Marcus. Bob Marcus is taking on Hercules in the second match. Now, we have not talked about this yet because we haven't been doing a lot of wrestling with the past, but Hercules Hernandez has made his debut, immediately being managed by Fred Blassie. He is without the gladiator Hercules gimmick. He's just black trunks, no entrance gear. Why are the dogs going insane? That's lovely. Probably Amazon. I don't know. They'll just bark. It's good. It's a good interruption. I really don't like them. I don't like the dogs. They're really a nuisance. Okay. Yeah. So Hercules is not yet Hercules. In fact, he's kind of got like a, almost like a Nord the Barbarian, Bruiser Brody kind of style. He's already been on TNT in '85. He's already been on Championship Wrestling a few times. Nothing really special yet. And they kind of had to do something with him because he doesn't have any kind of special look, and I think he would have he needed a WWF gimmick in order to really be who he ended up being, bad guy Hercules Hernandez. Anyway, blah blah blah. Bob Marcus. Look, they're going to take a guy who we're used to seeing wrestle for 2.5 minutes, and they got to give him like 7 minutes. So Bob Marcus is going to get in a little bit of offense against Hercules, but ultimately it's a showcase for Hercules. He is using the backbreaker, which is the torture rack, the Lex Luger torture rack. He's using that as his finisher, and he keeps using it as his finisher all throughout the Hercules era. If you hadn't already figured it out, Hercules defeats Bob Marcus. Show's going to pick up, right? We got to get a good match here, right? No, we've got Big Ron Shaw taking on Rene Goulet. And I love so Rene Goulet has the deal where gives you the claw, right? Rene Goulet gives you the claw hold. That's his finisher, right? And for whatever reason, he wears a dirty glove, like a dirty brown fingerless glove for the claw. Now, I never understood why the guys who did the claw, other than the Von Erichs, but people like Blackjack Mulligan, Rene Goulet, when they did the claw, why do they have to have a glove on the claw hand? Well, of course, the announcers would say, well, it's loaded. It's a loaded glove. But you're giving the guy the claw, right? So you're using the strength of your fingers. I'm not sure what the fingerless glove would be for. And if it's loaded, who cares? Loaded with what? So in wrestling kayfabe world, I'm thinking they put a piece of metal. You got to use metal. They put a piece of metal or steel in the palm of the glove, and then when they're giving the claw and they're kind of wrenching in on it, maybe that hard steel is grinding against the forehead. Maybe. No. But in order to get to his dirty brown glove, Rene Goulet wears a sequined glove over the dirty brown glove. And he makes it part of like his entrance gimmick. So he stands up on the second rope, he takes the sequin glove off, and then he holds it up for the crowd like this. So he's like showing off a glove. And then every single time Gorilla Monsoon says, Rene Goulet, I have coined him as the Michael Jackson of professional wrestling. So just because white Frenchman Rene Goulet wears a sequined glove, he is deemed the black pop singer Michael Jackson because he has the glove, right? It's great. Ron Shaw, I think, was maybe 5, 6, 7%, possibly getting a very mild push, right? So it's 5% of a mild push, right? So really nothing at all, because they are noting that Ron Shaw has had some big wins lately. Now, they're not saying who he defeated, that he's had some big wins lately. And if I'd been keeping up with Wrestling with the Past, you would have known that Ron Shaw, just a few weeks ago in 1985, defeated David Sammartino at a house show. I think it was Philly, might have been Boston, I don't know. But he defeated, might have been Madison Square Garden. He defeated David Sammartino in the famous David Sammartino swerves the WWF deal. So basically, Ron Shaw, David Sammartino, they have a very quick 10-minute match, not 10 minute, 2 minutes. David Sammartino gets in no offense. Ron Shaw's beating him from pillar to post. And then quickly whips him into the ropes, gets him in a bear hug. David Sammartino immediately quits. Referee rings the bell. Nobody is hip to the game. Nobody's clued in. Gorilla Monsoon is boycotting the win, saying there's no way Sammartino gave up. This referee needs to be fired. And then you come to find out through multiple different interviews that this was David Sammartino's way of saying, screw you, WWF. I'm out of here for a while. I've watched interviews with David Sammartino. He said basically nothing against Ron Shaw, but I'm sick of wrestling Ron Shaw and the likes of Ron Shaw. David Sammartino was his biggest fan, and rightfully so, because there should be no other fans of David Sammartino. He's dreadful. And I'll go out on a limb here and say he's as dreadful as Bruno Sammartino, who I think is dreadful, right? But David Sammartino, in his mind, in his mighty nepotism, thought that he should be more than he was. And so he was tired of taking on the job guys at these house shows. He was tired, and he said during the interview, he was tired of the curtain jerking, right? Being the first match on the card. And so he decided, in all of his wisdom, to stick it to the WWF by losing to Ron Shaw. Now, if you, and then, David talked to him before, and Ron Shaw was in on it. If you go to Ron Shaw's shoot interview, which I think there's been one of course, Ron Shaw tells a different story and says that they had some heat and that the match got a little physical, and it didn't. And that wasn't the case at all. So Ron Shaw is trying to make it into something that it wasn't. And David Sammartino's an idiot for just going into business for himself. And I don't think we see him for a while. Now, they don't mention David Sammartino by name because they still have a relationship with Bruno Sammartino. And I think it was kind of a, don't throw my kid under the bus. And so they say Ron Shaw's had a couple of big wins lately. I'll move on. I'm spending way too much time on this. Ron Shaw wins with the sunset flip. And Ron Shaw is kind of wrestling as the face. So Rene Goulet gets a lot of the offense in. Ron Shaw has some comebacks. The crowd's confused. They don't know they're not going to cheer for either one of these guys. Ron Shaw gets the win with a sunset flip. All right, next up we've got Dino Bravo versus Tiger Chung Lee. I cannot care about Dino Bravo. I can't care about him as a babyface. I cannot care about him as the mythical Canadian heavyweight champion that he's always announced as. I cannot care about him as the blonde bad guy in 87, 88. I just can't care about Dino Bravo. I think he's awful. And he takes on Tiger Chung Lee, who I do care about. I think Tiger Chung Lee is one of the better bad guys. What do you want?
Oh, nothing. Just sitting on here.
Okay.
Next to you.
You can. I think Tiger Chung Lee is one of the better bad guys, and I think he maybe they should have brought in another Asian wrestler. They had lost Mr. Fuji by this point. Mr. Saito was in jail, I think. I don't know. I think Tiger Chung Lee could have had a partner and been cool, been good. I like Tiger Chung Lee. In fact, I saw Tiger Chung Lee on a recent episode of TNT. They brought him out, and on TNT, a lot of the guys sort of drop character a little bit, and Tiger Chung Lee did that a little bit on TNT. In fact, McMahon would make a few jokes. Tiger Chung Lee would have kind of a hidden smile, and I enjoyed it. Of course, Dino Bravo defeats Tiger Chung Lee with the, the belly to back suplex kind of thing? Yeah. Next up, now's when this card starts to pick up. We've got the Hart Foundation. Yes, are they taking on the Killer Bees? No. Are Bulldogs? No. Tiger Chung Lee and the Great Muta? No. Hillbilly Jim and Uncle Elmer. Ladies and gentlemen, there's still some life left in the Hillbillies. Uncle Elmer will stick around up to WrestleMania 2 at least. Hillbilly Jim sticks around longer. I don't know which cousin comes in. I think Cousin Junior is there, and Cousin Luke will eventually show up, or vice versa. I don't know. Hillbilly Jim's fine. Uncle Elmer is difficult to watch. And you can't even be like, he's just playing a character. I don't think so. I think Uncle Elmer, the wrestler, pretty much is Uncle Elmer, the man. I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure the over-exaggerated Appalachian accent is Uncle Elmer. So it's really hard and surreal to see Bret Hart in the ring with Uncle Elmer and trying to do something with it. Of course they do. It makes more sense to see Anvil in the ring with Uncle Elmer. But to avoid all of that, they leave Hillbilly Jim in the ring a lot. And Elmer just comes in for the big splashes and the big, the girthy size-based moves. And Bret Hart bumps all around the ring for Elmer. It's great. But they kept Hillbilly Jim in a lot, and I didn't hate Hillbilly Jim. I thought he was doing fine. I think it's better with Hillbilly Jim doing a few of the punches and the clotheslines, and then, the bad guys get on top of them, and they're beating down Hillbilly, and the crowd is dying for Elmer to get in, and it was better than you'd think, I suppose. Of course, the Harts get the win when Big Elmer is doing these awful sort of belly squashes in the corner on Anvil. And then Bret Hart is outside the ring, and Bret Hart somehow grabs the gigantic tree trunk ankle of Elmer, and somehow just by grabbing that ankle, he gets the 400-pound walrus to fall over on his back like a turtle who can't get up, and then Anvil climbs on top of him while Bret Hart holds down the ankle of the Elmer, and they get the win. We go on to another main event match in any arena. King Tonga takes on Cowboy Bob Orton. Now, this one wasn't that bad. There's a lot of noise upstairs, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's chairs dragging. Your mother's vacuuming.
Finny spilled glue, and now she's all angry.
Finny spilled glue, and now she's angry.
Yes.
Now, what a surprise. Okay. The dogs are barking. The chairs are sliding.
I dropped a new banger video.
You should promote the fact that you dropped a banger video.
Well, I'm not dressed in my drippy clothes.
I think Finley's calling you. Do you want to promote your channel?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, promote your channel.
Alrighty, y'all.
Yeah, you're not in that. You're not in that. Oh, I think you're being growled for upstairs. She's going, Leon! Can I have my turtle thing, please? Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye, chat.
All right, chat. King Tonga takes on Cowboy Bob Orton. Actually, a good match. Young King Tonga is not bad. Obviously, so this is a little bit before the slow prodding Haku, even longer before the slow prodding Meng. This is King Tonga, and he's okay. In fact, I think in '86 he gets to body slam John Studd on Championship Wrestling. But God, those idiots upstairs, I swear to God. It's a good match. I love Cowboy Bob Orton matches. They're just so LJN-y to me. I'll watch Orton versus Dog. I'll watch Orton versus Orndorff, Orton versus Tito, Orton versus Steamboat. I love Cowboy Bob Orton matches because they're just good. And King Tonga's good here too. And so basically what happens is Orton clubs Tonga with the cast and goes for the pin. And then gets the pin. But it's one of the deals where the referee's tapping on his back, right? And so Orton gets up, celebrates, and I love this. He gets out of the ring, and he's on the ramp, and he's celebrating and he does like this, he does this awesome, like he like puts it, and then he like kind of goes like that down while he's walking, like he's just this, he's just sarcastically celebrating his win, and he's not facing the ring, and inside the ring you can see the referee talking to the ring announcer and doing the, he's got a gesture because the crowd has no idea what he's saying, so all the wrestlers have to talk with gestures, so the referee's going like that, and he raises the hand of King Tonga, and Orton freaks out on the ramp that he can't believe he lost, and he's furious, and so King Tonga defeats Bob Orton by disqualification. Then for some reason we go back to the job matches. We've got Paul Orndorff, who easily could have been the guy that took on Orton. We got Paul Orndorff versus Ted Grizzly, another mostly Canadian job guy. We do see Ted Grizzly in the States from time to time. But Orndorff versus Ted Grizzly, I have no idea. So far, we've got Johnny Canine and Cannonball Parisi, Hercules and Bob Marcus, Ron Shaw and Rene Goulet, Bravo and Chung Lee, and now Orndorff and Ted Grizzly. We got 5 not so great matches here. Could we even call them job matches? This match is about 30 seconds. Orndorff comes in, beats up on Ted Grizzly, and then pile drives him for the quick win. Very surreal to see the big, gigantic, overall wearing, big bearded Ted Grizzly going up in the pile driver, and literally Orndorff's arms are wrapped all around his girthy midsection to get him up in the pile driver. And it looked cool. It was just a good visual. Orndorff beats Ted Grizzly in the 5th bad match of the night. And believe it or not, we've only got 2 matches left. This is a short card, not a good card. However, the main event, we have Hulk Hogan, which is why they could probably have Bob Marcus and Ted Grizzly and Cannonball Parisi and Johnny Canine on the card, because we're bringing the Hulkster to Canada. We've got Hulk Hogan taking on Terry Funk. Terry Funk, for me, is the MVP of 1985. Terry Funk is so good. I've said it a million times before. Terry Funk is the best, one of the best in-ring. He gives one of the best in-ring performances. Let's call it that. Is it the best in-ring performer? Is he a Ricky Steamboat? No. He gives one of the best in-ring performances. He works the crowd so much. He sells so much. He throws himself all around the ring. He throws himself all around the outside of the ring. He will jump the barricade and get in the face of a fan. He is fantastic. And if it's a house show with the announcers around the ring, you can guarantee that he's going to get into it with Gorilla Monsoon. And he does, again, get into it with Gorilla Monsoon. And Gorilla always stands up real slow and takes his glasses off as if he's ready to go, right? And then Jesse's like, whoa, Gorilla, you were, Terry Funk has awesome offense against Hogan. Bumps the heck out of the ring for Hogan. Great match. I love Terry Funk, and Terry Funk makes Hulk Hogan look awesome. The boot comes off in this one. I think Jimmy Hart throws the boot or something to to Terry Funk, and Hogan gets the boot, and Hogan smacks Terry Funk right in front of the referee and gets the 3 count. No leg drop, nothing like that. Just a boot. Just a boot. Great stuff. Love it. Love Funk versus Hogan. We close out this sort of miserable card with the Dream Team, Greg Valentine, Bruce Beefcake, defending the World Tag Team titles against the British Bulldogs. Yes, indeed. This is everything you expect. I mean, the British, first of all, obviously Beefcake is the weak link in this match and in general, but he's not. I mean, Beefcake is fine. Beefcake's good. Valentine is Valentine. Bulldogs are the Bulldogs. It's a great match. And it's got limited time because I think we were still dealing with a curfew, I think. Because it's a time limit draw, and it certainly wasn't a 20-minute match or anything like that. So I think we got a curfew deal. But for 16, maybe 14, 15 minutes, these guys just do their thing. And I love watching these matches. I could watch the Killer Bees and the Dream Team. I could watch the Bulldogs and the Dream Team all day long. Hearts versus Killer Bees, Hearts versus Bulldogs. Love the tag teams of this era. The 4 big ones anyways. Then you get your throw together tag teams like Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana, and I don't care about that. Tito's teaming with Pedro Morales a lot lately. I don't care about that either. I cannot enjoy Pedro Morales. But anyway, the Dream Team versus Bulldogs, fantastic match. Time limit draw. Obviously, these two teams are going to be going at it very much through early 1986, culminating, of course, at WrestleMania 2. Now, that ends 1985, folks. Like I said, I will do the Madison Square Garden pay-per-view to officially end. Madison Square Garden house show to officially end 1985. But we are coming to a close, and the wrestling album is out. The LJNs are out. The LJNs are all over television. The wrestling album and the music videos are all over television. The Slammies are coming in 1986. Our 4th Saturday Night's Main Event is coming in January of 1986. In fact, it's next Saturday, back in time. I will be interested to see when we start getting our first announcements about WrestleMania 2. Randy Savage is bound to be Intercontinental Champion at some point. They've already on the last Championship Wrestling show of '85. They do mention the upcoming Saturday Night's Main Event, and they are starting the George Steele versus Randy Savage deal with Elizabeth. That's coming, and I'm looking forward to '86 because there's a lot of it. There's probably half of it that I haven't seen since '86. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania 2, even though it's one of my least favorites. I'm looking for the build up to it. And we're going to do Wrestling with the Past a little bit more frequently to just keep my enjoyment of these shows going. Like I said, I've got a giant bin, and I think it's under my G.I. Joe bench. There's a giant plastic tub of the rest of my wrestling DVDs, and I've got to pull them out, and I've got to put 86 in order, and that's not going to be easy. But that's that. Wrestling with the Past. We'll see you next time. Good night now.